completely covering the hole, and essentially when you have penetrative sex, you pop it. What's up guys? This week I'm going to show you how to have incredible sex with a virgin so that her sexual debut is one she'll never forget, and how to do it without worrying about leading her on or causing a lot of pain or blood all over your sheets. And I'm going to show you how to do this even if you're not sexually experienced yourself. I first want to cover the most important thing when it comes to virginity, and that's your mindset around it. You should not think about her first time as you taking something from her or some achievement that you've unlocked. I don't even like the phrase taking her virginity. It should really feel like you're giving her something. The gift of an amazing first experience. A lot of women experience horrible sexual experiences, and if her first time is negative, if it's painful, there's like blood everywhere, she's uncomfortable, she doesn't feel, that good around you, then you're really gonna start her off with a really negative perception around sex. So I wanna change our mindset away from the girl being willing to give us something and her getting through the pain, and I wanna change it to her first time is going to be amazing. You're gonna give her this experience where she's gonna remember forever, and she's gonna start having a really positive association around pleasure and sex. The next point is to not treat her like a virgin. You shouldn't treat her like this innocent little flower, or view her as less desirable just because she is or isn't a virgin. The concept of virginity, in my opinion, is a little bit outdated and irrelevant. I don't really see the need to make a classification between a girl that has had a penis penetrate her or not. To give you an example, I used to hook up with a girl that was a virgin for religious reasons, but she was super sexually experienced. She gave great blowjobs and absolutely loved anal. Just because a girl hasn't been penetrated doesn't mean that she's that innocent little flower. It doesn't mean that you have to treat her that way. In my experience, most girls are virgins just because they haven't had the opportunity to find someone they trust enough to know they'll have a good experience with them. It's wrong to assume that a girl's a virgin because she's waiting for marriage, or it's a religious reason, or because she wants it to be amazingly special and wants to be with a guy that she loves. Oftentimes that's not even the case. For example, last year, I had sex with a girl for her first time. She was 24 years old, and she had read a lot of erotica. She knew what she liked, she was kinky. She was into this idea of BDSM. When we met, on the first time I was tying her up, I was spanking her. I'll show some of the screenshots up here on the screen. But if you want to see more of this, if you want to see more examples of how we're able to meet up with girls even if they haven't had sex before, then make sure to check out the Mastermind. I'll put a link down below. There's a 2-week free trial. You can go through, read some of that text, and hopefully change your mindset around what it means for a girl to be a virgin. So don't assume. Make sure to ask and explore her views and be open to her sexual exploration. If you start to treat her like a virgin, like it's a good thing that she's waited, or you like girls that haven't had sex before, it might make her feel a little bit ashamed and withdraw from wanting to have that experience with you. So before I explain exactly how to have sex for the first time with a girl, I want to first cover some misconceptions that I see a lot of men and even women make when it comes to the idea of virginity. So the first one being about the hymen. Many people believe that the vagina is covered by this tissue. There's kind of like a saran wrap that it's, completely covering the hole, and essentially when you have penetrative sex, you pop it. And that's what causes the bleeding, the pain, and her to lose her virginity. But that simply isn't true. If that was the case, she wouldn't be able to have a period, she wouldn't be able to put a tampon in, or fuck herself with a dildo. The hymen is more like a stretchy piece of tissue, kind of like this scrunchie around the entrance of the vagina. Every hymen is different, and the structure actually morphs during puberty due to hormones. So because the hymen is stretchy and elastic, just like this scrunchie here, it can accommodate penetration. So when you actually fuck the girl, the hymen usually just stretches out and then goes back and can accommodate that. So for that reason, it's not actually popping or tearing, and you can't actually tell before or after sex if the girl had had sex or not. Now, if you do get bleeding, sometimes it can be from a tear of the hymen, but a lot of time it's just from lack of lubrication, going too hard the first time, and you can actually get micro tears within the vagina itself, and that can cause some bleeding. The only time you're gonna have those tears and it's gonna be a big bloody mess is when you're not doing it right. So let's talk about how to do it right. First thing I want you to do is take the pressure off. It shouldn't be a big deal. I have to encourage girls not to put such a big emphasis on it. Some girls might say, I want it to be special, right? I want it to be a guy I really care about. Something I say is like, imagine you met the guy of your dreams, some guy that you really connected with, and then you had a very awkward first experience where you didn't really understand yourself sexually, you weren't able to bring that into this relationship, there was no sexual chemistry. I'm like, you don't really want that to happen with a guy that you've put all this expectation on, this guy that you really connected with. I mean, everyone can do what they like, but I really encourage girls to be able to explore their own sexuality and then just find a guy that they like and they're happy to have that experience with, and then continue that forward. It really doesn't have to be this big emphasis on like this one experience. Even if they have shitty sex the first time, that's fine. Move on, find someone you're gonna have better sex with. Simple as that. So I really want to take the pressure off the girl. I also want to let her know that the priority is not to lose her virginity or have penetrative sex. It's just to have a good sexual experience with me. If that means it's only oral this time, that's fine. If we get to a point and she changes her mind, then it's all good. We'll still have a lot of fun, and I really want her to know that. And when you create that environment, I've never had a girl change her mind, but it's really important for her to know if she does, you're not going to be upset about it. And to allow her to feel as trusting and confident in you as possible, you must reassure her that you have experience and authority around dealing with virgins. You want them to be able to trust you and believe that you can give her that good experience. Think about it as a surgeon, right? If one of them comes in and he's nervous and shaking and he seems really unsure, you're gonna be very anxious. Compared to a doctor that comes in, knows exactly what's going on, he's gonna tell you what to expect, and he seems very confident within himself, then you kind of feel a little bit more relaxed in yourself as well. So even if you haven't had that much experience, this guide is gonna give you all the authority and understanding that you need. So start by explaining what it will look like and why it doesn't have to be a painful or negative experience. Use kind of what I mentioned earlier. You know, some girls might say, I'm scared, right? I don't want all that pain. You can look up some horror stories on like Reddit or Google, and I will say, look, as I mentioned to you guys before, it doesn't have to be painful. If the girl is like warmed up, if she has enough foreplay, if she's in her body and kind of out of her mind, she trusts the guy, it's slow and relaxed, you can actually have a great experience with pleasure and no pain. Unless you're into that type of thing. So if you want to have sex with her, you need to start with foreplay. She's going to be a little bit nervous and in her head, and the biggest female sex organ is her brain. If we want her to be wet and ready, we need to get her out of her head and back into her body a little bit. And a massage is a great way to start this. And then start to validate and reassure her. Just tell her that she's doing a great job. Let her know what you find attractive about her, how she's turning you on, and then simply move on to going down on her. And tell her to close her eyes and focus on every little touch she can feel. This process should take, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And now you're at the point where she's a little bit more relaxed in her body, feeling horny, and now we move on to fingering. So take your finger and just place it at the entrance of a pussy, and just put a little bit of pulsating motion there. And if you need, use some lube and slowly just enter your finger inside of her, centimeter by centimeter. Keep everything nice and slow and relaxed. And then once your finger's inside, just slowly pull it out and back in, and you can start exploring her pussy. You can push up against the upper wall with a G-spot, you can explore around. And then from here, you'll notice that she'll start getting a bit more turned on. She'll start getting a little bit more wet. You can move to 2 fingers. Same process, just slowly move in, not a lot of friction, not a lot of force. And slowly again, you can start moving up, hit a G-spot, move down, explore a little bit. And do this until she starts feeling again relaxed and comfortable around you and enjoying 2 fingers inside of her. Now it's time for penetration. So make sure to use a condom. Just because she's a virgin doesn't mean that she doesn't have any STIs, doesn't mean that she can't get pregnant. So once she's adequately wet and warmed up, tell her to breathe in and breathe out. On the inhale, slowly insert your dick inside of her and look for a reaction. If she starts tensing up, then slow down. And make sure to check in with her. And this doesn't mean like, hey, are you okay? Is that all right? Do you like it? Are you sure? You can still make it sexy. Use dirty talk, right? You can be like, you look so fucking hot right now. Like, tell me right now, do you want it faster or slower? What do you want? Right? Turn the conversation and make it a little bit more sexual. Now, this is just a very generalized guide for the girl for her first time. Obviously, once you become a little bit more experienced, you can vary the type of foreplay or what gets her turned on. As I mentioned, that girl that was 24, she was very much into BDSM, so my lead up to penetration wasn't this slow massage or anything. Like, she wanted a bit more rough. I was spanking her, pulling her hair, calling her a dirty little whore. Now, That's, let's say, a little bit more advanced, but if you just use this guide, if you just go through these steps, the girl's gonna have an amazing first time. Girls can respond in very different ways after having that first experience. It can be very emotional. I've heard girls that break down into tears. They might be struggling with certain limiting beliefs or ideas around shame, or they might just be begging to go for round 2. But it's important that you offer her that time and space to explore those emotions and feelings. I usually just lay there and cuddle with the girl and let her bring up anything that she wants to bring up. And at the same time, make sure to validate the experience, right? The girls are often worried if they're gonna be good enough or if they're, too inexperienced for you. So letting them know that, hey, that was a great experience, even if you had to go really slow and check in, you tell her like, that was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed that with you. So there it is, guys. But one point I do wanna make is about the condition of vaginismus. Now, this affects about 5 to 17% of women. And it's a condition where they have an involuntary muscle spasm in their vagina, right? So it makes it really hard to penetrate and often causes a lot of pain. It usually comes as a fear response or stress or from pain itself, but it's involuntary and something that women might suffer from. And I've had guys come to me before saying, hey, I think this girl lied. I think she's actually a virgin. Like, I couldn't even get a finger in. So this is very different from just being a virgin to having this condition. And oftentimes the treatment for it is kind of what I mentioned earlier on. It's about starting off slow, warming up, the breathing exercises, the removing tension, getting into your body. But girls that are suffering from this medical condition often already have these strategies in place. And so if this is something you encounter, just keep it in the back of your mind and keep the communication open. Find out from the girl what makes it easier for her, what makes her be able to relax more, what helps her to be able to get through this penetration and into pleasure and away from pain. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified for our new videos. You can check out some more content here. But don't forget, sign up for the Mastermind, 2-week free trial. You can jump in, see more content like this. You can see the text interactions from girls that hadn't had sex before that we got over to the place. So otherwise, I'll see you guys later. Peace.